my English teacher friends. Kristian Kuhn coming at you again, affectionately known as the Bob Ross of composition. And I got a cool one for those teachers that like to begin their academic year with rhetorical analysis. So this is going to be my first day icebreaker, probably like first day, second day back to school sort of thing, just to get hunkered in and oriented to the basics of ethos, pathos, logos, get into a little bit of Aristotelian rhetoric. And it's a really neat exercise that I actually learned from a student that I tutor for the college personal statement. She's applying to be a business major, and she did a business camp this past summer and was explaining this icebreaker in her college personal statement. I was like, bingo, what a great way to do rhetorical analysis. So I'll walk you all the way through it. And give you a little overview and kind of get a sense of how I'm going to do it in the classroom. And by all means, adapt it and adjust it for your purposes and kids. So just real quickly, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. It's called Kristian Kuhn, the Bob Ross of composition. As many of you know, those algorithms are getting tricky. So please hit the like, sprinkle some love, tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your students far and wide so that I can help grow this. All the slides that you're going to see in this presentation are down below in the description. They are for free, so grab them if you would like. And then before I jump in, know that I'm a lead teacher for the National Writing Project and do a lot of professional development throughout the U.S. I can either come to your district, via Zoom or, travel there if you'd like. And I love this little signage here. I just can't get enough of these staff development days. They definitely improve my teaching, ... said no teacher ever. So I know when I go to schools, most teachers say, man, that was the most relevant PD I've had in like 25 years of teaching. So if you want to talk specifics or check out my webpage, you can go to www.teachingwritingcoach.com, or you can drop me an email at teachingwritingcoach@gmail.com. So let's talk about the directions, right? So there's basically two things that we can do here. One is you can dive right into the junk drawer exercise if your kids have a really good working understanding of the rhetorical appeals with regards to the ethos, pathos, logos, how to manipulate them, what they mean, can they identify them in a text, and all that stuff. So my students, when they come into AP language or even 10 honors, really don't have that basis, that foundation. So let me fly through real quick an exercise that I do before the icebreaker. So I give them kind of an overview of Aristotle and the Lyceum and the basic fundamentals of rhetoric before I delve into this. And I begin by explaining pathos because it's the easiest of the appeals to kind of understand. And I wrote all these mentor examples, and I'll give you a couple cases in point. So number one says, Mom, have I ever told you how beautiful you are? That thing that you're doing to your hair adds a certain je ne sais quoi radiance to your already sublime smile. Moreover, you're the best mom any kid could ever ask for. I'm truly fortunate to be blessed with such a great mother. By the way, can I borrow the car tonight? So clearly you can see there that the kid's buttering up the mom. That's the pathos. But the rhetorical gist of this is to get the car keys, right? So I want to talk to kids about the idea that oftentimes, rhetoric is for the purposes of arguing, but also there's, a great degree in deal of manipulation that occurs in rhetoric as well. I'll give you another one here for the appeal to emotion, pathos. Baby, what do you mean you want to break up? Remember all the good times, our first kiss, that magical walk in the woods, our prom night, Friday night movies. Are you really willing to throw it all away? Please, baby, you're my world. You're my everything. So I'm just going to give you a couple of examples, but here's something that I do, and especially in AP language land, I think this is essential. So I think a lot of teachers make the mistake of teaching these appeals in isolation. And the emotional appeal is really clear here, right? That this kid is pouring on the emotions to get, this girl back that allegedly broke up with him. But the terms, the devices, techniques never exist in isolation. And I'm always thinking about how does this transfer into their writing? Here's what I mean by this. So one of the things that we have to assess here is this speaker's ethos, right? But also the logos. This is what I mean. They all intersect with each other. So imagine an instance in which I come home, I've been married a bit of time, and I say, wife, we need a divorce today because our marriage is so splendid and so wonderful. We're at that stage of our lives where we're having grandchildren. This is like the best, man. Our kids are so blessed. Like, we raised them so well. They have happy lives, like great partners in their lives. We have to divorce. Like, you would all look at me and say, what are you talking about, Kristian? That's wacky sauce. What are you talking about? Right? So one of the things that begs to be questioned in this example is, why are you guys breaking up? Right? And that gets to the heart of the logos and the ethos. If he's like, oh, well, yeah, I got, drunk Friday night and, I kissed your best friend, sorry, right? Well, that warrants being broken up, over, and, gives more context to the situation. So you got to bring in the ethos, the logos, and the pathos almost systematically through it. So as you go through here, you'll see I have a ton of examples for ethos. And when we get to logos, this is where things get a little tricky. So many of you know my heuristics, and I use the syllogistic method for my body paragraphs across the expository modes. And basically, the syllogistic method is just an analysis of a logos construct. So my students are pretty familiar with that because they've been writing syllogistically for a bit of time now. So here's the first icebreaker before we get to the junk drawer exercise. I need to make sure that they're kind of understanding Aristotelian rhetoric. So I want them to role play a little bit with it. So here's the rhetorical situation. It's a Friday and your ELA teacher is at it again. They're overloading their students with homework. Not only is your 30-page research paper due next class, you have to read Wuthering Heights, a very fat and boring book, write a synthesis essay about vertical farming, say what? And to top it all off, you have to write a rhetorical analysis about some trivial historical speech. So I have students count off. 1 is for pathos, group 1's pathos, group 2 ethos, group 3 logos. And here's what I have them do. Each group will need to plead their case to their teacher exclusively using their assigned rhetorical appeal. And the plea is this: lessen the homework load or abolish it. Just get it out of the way. Get it off the table. And my rule is all group members must speak. So all of us know that post-COVID, at least in my district and in the teachers that I communicate with, discussion is really hard to facilitate post-COVID. And I want to do exercises like this that create that rapport and that sense of camaraderie and that safe space where we can be goofy and silly and take intellectual risks and just put it all out there. So this is pretty cool. And then I just kind of monitor it and give them other ideas and examples as they share out. But in particular, I show them and kind of dissect how the appeals all weave into one another. All right. So that's kind of important. So let's talk about this junk drawer rhetoric real quick. So here are my rules for this. I love this exercise. So I'm going to send it. I always send an introductory email to the parents and kids before the first day of school. So I'm going to tell them to bring one useless, discardable item from home or their bedroom. So something that just doesn't really, it doesn't matter if they lose it forever and ever and ever. So what we're going to do is put all those items on a table that I have in my room. So let's say I have 24 students in my classroom. Each kid's going to go to that table and take one item that is not their own. And then I'm going to split the class into groups. So with my class sizes, I'm thinking groups of like 4 or 5 students. And then here's what we got to do. Create an imaginary product that incorporates all of the junk. So let's say it's a group of 4. They have 4 separate junk things. Maybe it's a flashlight or a mouse trap or an old like Bic lighter or something of that nature. They have to create an imaginary product incorporating all of those items. I want them to create a sales pitch in which they incorporate ethos, pathos, logos. And then what we'll do is they can either use whatever's at their disposal. So they can make a movie, they can make a commercial. I have like graph charts and easel paper, a whole bunch of arts and crafts stuff in my room. So whatever they want to do in terms of their sales pitch. And then what I want to do is a post-pitch debrief where I want the kids in the peanut gallery that are observing the pitch to break down the 4 group members in terms of how they use the rhetorical appeals and strategies. And then at the end, award a winner. Who's got the best sales pitch? Like who are we buying from, right? So that is junk drawer rhetoric in a nutshell. So yet again, just want to say this. If you're interested in doing some professional development with me, teachingwritingcoach at gmail.com. So I do one-on-one mentoring with teachers. I do small departments, like 3, 4, 5 teachers from a department. I've done alignment across departments, did the Chicago City School District last summer. So I've worked with really big departments. So if you would like to talk about those things, let's discuss. teachingwritingcoach at gmail.com. All right, happy teaching, happy writing. That's it, and I'll be back for more.